Leanne Barrette trailing by 20. Could change the scenario if she'll throw a couple of strikes here. And during that commercial break, Leanne went for some tape and put it in the thumb hole.
She did. She must not have a good feel. Apparently lost the ball. That's something very important for bowlers to remember, that your hand is not always the same size. And you need to use tape to make that hole smaller or larger.
And one of the good tips for the amateur players is to always have a couple of pieces of tape available so that you don't hold up play. Well, whatever she did, it worked, because she threw a wonderful shot there, although she leaves the ringing 10 pin on lane 50, or I should say 54.
Great shot. 6-pin flew around the 10. Notice she's changing bowling balls to one that is shinier, harder surface to go longer down the lane and shoot the 10 pin, so she doesn't have to play so large a hook or an arc.
No problem with the 10, but there is a problem score-wise. She's down by 21 as Dan and Mary look on, and right now they're obviously in the hot seat because Leanne is trailing in this match.
And she's so happy to have them here.
Oh, yeah. Very family-oriented individual.
She is. You know, it's interesting, she rooms alone on tour because she said she lives alone at home, and it's very hard for her to try and work into someone else's schedule. So she likes to do it that way.
Key shot, needs to get something started, and still nothing will fall. Back-to-back 10 pins. Meanwhile, in a trance is Anne-Marie thinking, boy, I did it last year. If I can get by Leanne, then I got the two lefties above me. Maybe I can get by them and win 2 opens in a row and become the first player ever to do that on the ladies tour.
In the back of her mind, and she's probably trying to tell herself, just worry about the next shot right now.
Yeah, let us worry about 2 in a row.
Right. Anne-Marie's up by 22, and a strike would put her up by 32 with 3 frames to go.
Quality shot, nice result, a 5-bagger. And there is Carol Sharp, Anne-Marie's mother. If I'm not mistaken, the lady we identified the last time was Dick Steinbaugh's wife, who is president of the Southern Cal Bowling Proprietors Association. So I want to give credit where credit is due. There she is right there to the right of Pat Dugan. And you see part of Dick Steinbaugh there as well. Probably the better part, right? A little more loft. And a solid 10 pin. Boy, 2 good games in a row, though, for Anne-Marie. Doesn't look like she's feeling the pressure. And when you had an opportunity to talk to all 5 players at the end of the match play portion this afternoon, you said by far and away Anne-Marie was the most relaxed of the bunch.
She was, because she said, I have nothing to lose. I've already got a U.S. Open title. I can't go lower than 5th. I'm just going to go out there and make my shots.
She has executed to perfection. Only 1 miscue. That was a miss of the 4-pin in the 2nd frame, but then she threw a 5-bagger after that to make amends.
She sure did. She said, I'm not going to let that affect me. I'm going to make up for it. And sometimes that's very hard to do in bowling. Never really can make up for a missed spare.
Just have to put it out of your mind and don't miss any more. At this level, when you miss a 1-pin spare, you normally pay for it in the end. But finally, a carry strike for Leanne Barrette, who continues to try and throw shots in the pocket. Leanne could still shoot 226, but that might not be enough.
Anne-Marie going at a 227 pace right now.
Just too many spares for Leanne, but really, when you look at it, that could have been a 3-bagger in the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th.
Could have been 2 quality shots, 10 pins on both of them.
Needed the light hit and just didn't quite have the ball rolled up, and so she leaves out the washout. As you take a look at our perspective here from the broadcast facility.
And Leanne, that was, we talked about before, she's been spraying the ball right. Look how far the ball came back behind her. In order to get it around her hip, she has to send it way right.
Oh, and she gets a break, although it's too late in the match to make any difference. Now her best score would be 206, so on cruise control right now is the defending champ.
And she had a harder ball going straight at it, took the head pin straight back to the back wall, came back off onto the lane and kicked out the 10.
It happens when you least expect it and when you really least need it. The 91 U.S. Open champion is looking like she wants to make it back-to-back victories.
She just is not missing.
And she opts for her second re-rack of game number 2 on lane 53.
She brought all of her concentration with her tonight. Needs 9 pins to shut Leanne out.
A player that's focused, in control, has the right ball, the right surface, the right weights to match up with this pair of lanes. But next in line, Tish Johnson. And above her, Alita Sill, 2 players that knocked down a whole lot of pins this week at Fountain Valley.
They sure did. They were trying to lap some of the field there towards the end today.
Just to give you some idea of what I'm speaking of, Alita Sill knocked down more than 600 pins more than Anne-Marie-Duggan did through 56 games. She averaged 11 pins more per game. So a lot of excitement yet to come because we've got the 2 southpaws ready to load up and take a shot at the defending champion.
Anne-Marie is pretty much, she has wrapped up this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was just a formality. Strike here gives her 227 to go along with 246. There it is. So she's averaging a little better than 235 for the opening couple of games. And for Leanne Barrette, a second-place finish, a third-place finish, and now a fourth-place finish 3 years in a row in the U.S. Open. Next year, it's either going to be 5th or maybe even hopefully 1st.
I think she'll hope for 1st.
All right. We'll head to a break here. Game number 2 is already said and done. Anne-Marie-Duggan continues to march towards her second U.S. Open title.